What'd you think of Barbie?
I thought it was awesome, honestly.
What'd you like about it?
My favorite part about it was when Ken made it to the real world and he realized how fucking cool men are. He's like, dude, we run the world with horses? That's insane.
That is the best review I've ever heard for that.
I loved it.
Hello, you beautiful freaks. Welcome to a brand new episode of Frequels. I'm your host, EJ Leeson, and with me today is my co-host. If he was a mutant, he'd be Professor X, Rory Colorasi. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'd like to go home then, so let's just get this over with.
All right, perfect. And of course, the keeper of the pod. He puts the infant in Infinity Stones. Young Vince, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, EJ. What's up? It's good. I like that one.
Oh, thank you. So what's new? Anything good?
Same old, same old. Excited as always, and when I'm excited, you know why. It's because we got something special going on today.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
He's fully erect.
Yes.
Again,
as always. And finally, last but not least, first-time guest.
Yep.
That brings handsome to a whole new level.
Oh, wow.
Jake Kelly.
Wow,
how are
thank
you, sir?
I need a handshake after that. I haven't felt that good in so long.
Jake, before the show starts, we are going to need you to sign this document stating that you were not touched before the show started.
Okay, I can't sign that.
Oh,
before
well,
or after?
We'll talk.
What about during?
We'll talk. Have another drink. We'll talk.
But yeah, so what's new with you guys? Anything cool?
Just watching movies, getting ready for it.
Yes.
We're 17 podcasts in, which is fantastic. I didn't think we'd make it till 10, and we're almost at friggin' 20. It's
It's all
awesome.
those people outside yelling for us to be canceled.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
And we're just doing it to
I
piss
saw them
them
when I
off
was
now.
walking in.
Yeah, crossing the picket lines, not fun.
No.
Especially when you're getting picketed, that's not the greatest.
A lot of people don't know this, but there was actually another host. Ripped apart. Limb from limb.
Limb from limb.
Very much like the movie we're talking about today.
Yes. And today, guys.
1980s classic, never-ending story.
Yes. This movie is probably one of the craziest movies of all time. And Vince, how did you feel watching it? This is your first time ever watching it, right?
Yeah, it's the first HELLRAISER experience I've ever had. And,
Shocking.
Yeah, why wouldn't I? So I have a story that kind of relates to this. You want me to just get right into it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right,
Yeah.
so picture it, Massapequa, 1988, Massapequa, Long Island.
So Vince is the Sophia.
I'm pretty sure that it's my
Sicily,
1980. I'm pretty sure it's my brother's birthday, 1988, 1989. I'm still very young. We're all dressed up. We're gonna go out to eat. We're either going to like Nella Quits or Earhart's or some Long Island bullshit. And I'm walking into the house. We're getting ready to go, and I find a wasp's nest. Okay, like a bunch of yellow jackets right outside my grandmother's door.
A bunch of rich white people?
No. Close. I did live in that neighborhood on Long Island. There's plenty of those neighborhoods. So I see the wasp nest, and I'm like, oh, I can take care of this. I got this. Like, I've seen it. You get the can, and you just spray the wasp nest with a can. So I run over to Uncle Sal's work van. This is going someplace. So I run over to Uncle Sal's work van, and I grab
Shout out to
a can,
Uncle Sal. Yeah.
And I grab a can out of his car, and I go and spray it on the wasp nest. So what I didn't say is Uncle Sal's a mailman, and the can that is in his car is a can of mace. So I go and spray the wasp's nest with the mace, okay? It accidentally... Wait, hold on. It accidentally gets on my hand, and then I proceed to rub my eye, which is then rubbing mace into my eyes. We spend the next 2 hours in the ER. We miss my brother's birthday dinner, and the rest of the night is in the ER. So
I don't know. That sounds a little selfish to me.
No. So I would rather spray mace directly into my eyes than have to rewatch this movie.
Really?
Oh, I was wondering where this was going.
So was I.
Now you know.
Can we back up a little bit?
I'm just picturing the wasp. Like, you're like, what? We're not attacking you.
No, have at it. Go.
I have questions.
I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting.
You can.
Is your life a Three Stooges?
Yes, essentially, yeah. Well, I was like 6 or 7 years old, and my brother can verify this story, by the way. Yeah, we spent I would rather spray mace directly into my eyes than have to rewatch this movie. This
funny.
is hands down the worst shit you've ever made me watch. This was terrible. This was bad.
Oh, you're in for a lot.
I know.
Worse.
I was gonna say, you're in for a lot. So yeah, that's my description.
But
go
the
ahead.
first
Go
cut
ahead.
is the deepest.
Yeah. No, I just can't stop thinking about those wasps.
The wasps.
And
The
all
white
the-
Anglo-Saxon Protestants
flying
in-
around
yeah,
blind.
in-
Like, what the hell?
Well, didn't you tell me once that those wasps are actually like repeat offenders?
Yes.
And
That's
like, you're gonna have to do better than that.
Yep. That's exactly it.
I know you're sex offenders in 3 different states, you fuckers.
But in all seriousness, you're just an average wasp doing your thing in your nest, and then some whack job comes in and starts macing you.
With mace,
Right.
yeah. Overkill.
a
True
little
story.
overkill.
Yeah.
But no, that's hilarious. But I can't believe you didn't like this movie.
You know what? It was very heavy-handed, and it was just too much. It was just too much blood, too much gore. I never knew that I didn't want to see muscly breasts without skin. I thought
my
I'd be
favorite
into
part.
that. That was your favorite part?
It was.
I knew
He's
you'd be
actually
into that.
We'll
Jake's
get there,
actually
trust
wearing
me.
a shirt right now with a woman with
And I
muscly
appreciate
breasts.
him not wearing pants. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
he showed up
yes.
with no pants.
He asked out of
what I
all the
do.
guests, and he
That's
got it
how,
right away.
that's how we know he listened.
Yes. Yeah. No, but today we are talking about HELLBOUND, HELLRAISER 2. And this movie is wild,
Yes.
to say the least.
It's insane. It's insanity.
It's like a nest of wasps that have been maced. That's how wild it is.
That's so wild.
Oh, by the way,
This movie
Vince,
is.
Yes.
we have some of those wasps outside who are coming in.
We're interviewing.
Yeah, PTSD on that. Yeah. Oh my god.
They're coming in hot, 2020 style.
I don't know if I'm ever going to get over this wasp being maced.
I know.
And
I
don't
should have saved it. Okay.
Yeah.
But, okay, go
Yeah,
back.
no, but so this movie, I like Hellraiser. The first Hellraiser is a great movie.
I felt lost. I felt like of all the movies, I probably should have watched 1 before 2
absolutely.
because I was
that too.
fucking lost, man.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. And out of all the sequels to Hellraiser, this is probably the best.
I would say the
sequel.
best, yeah.
Yeah.
Top tier,
Yeah.
Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And so take that for
Yeah.
whatever that means.
So I
you
should
know?
have known.
Yeah.
EJ suggested to me I should watch Backdoor MILFs 4, but I was like, I didn't see 1 through 3. Am I going to get 4? And he was like, yeah, you'll be fine. This one, I feel like I had to watch the first one first.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah, to get
watched
all of the
first
plot.
one first.
But you did say you got off more to Hellraiser.
Correct. I don't know how.
Yeah. You learned things about yourself watching this movie.
It was a challenging wank, but yeah, I got there.
Yeah.
yeah.
It turns out one of his kinks is pain.
We want to know your flesh. Vince is like, I relate. But so let's take a dive into this movie. But first, wait, Jake Kelly. So this is your first Hellraiser experience ever?
Yes. The only time
Okay.
I've ever seen Pinhead was as a child. I just saw him on TV, and I never wanted to watch the movie because I was very scared.
Really?
But yes, after watching it, I didn't know there were multiple bad guys. Like
You thought it
the
was just
Cenobites.
Hellraiser. You
Yeah,
didn't know
I thought
the-
it was just the solo Pinhead.
I'm with you
I
on
was,
that.
I was confused.
I didn't know we
when
had a
everybody
team.
started turning into Pinheads. I was like, okay.
He's got
Yeah.
a posse.
Yeah, he does have a posse. I like it. They ride or die for him. That's respectable.
They're interesting because Pinhead, his name initially was not Pinhead. Because Clive Barker didn't want to name the character something stupid like Pinhead. I think he was just literally known as lead Cenobite. But they're
Yeah.
literally supposed to be like hell priests.
Okay.
That's why
I
they're
see
all
that.
dressed in the gowns
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff.
I get that.
Right.
So
I like
that's
teeth.
just like worthless information that I wasted
No.
time on the podcast.
Well,
to share with
Leatherface-
you.
You learned that. And then registered it away. Like, I'm going to use this.
Yeah, and you know what? That pushed out.
So much good information.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
I think that was
how
good.
I've survived this long is a miracle. You know?
Well, the same thing with Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He wasn't really Leatherface in the first movie. It wasn't until like later, right? It was the second movie. For
The people
sure.
that watched it essentially just gave him that name.
yeah.
Okay.
From what I've heard, I don't know. Is that true?
Who cares?
Rory would know. Rory would know. Yeah, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? All right,
EJ.
yeah,
Who cares?
who cares? So let's take a dive into this movie. So the movie starts off with a nice little flashback to the first film to remind us, hey, dum-dums, here's what you forgot or ignored in the first movie.
And for Jake and Vince, it still didn't register.
No, very confusing.
Still didn't make
So, like,
sense.
could you maybe elaborate a little bit more?
It would have made more sense
Yeah.
if they didn't do a flashback. For that. Just let me go with it.
Wait, did you think the flashback was just part of the story?
For like the first 10 seconds, I thought it was. I thought that was the start of the movie. I was like, this
narrative.
Oh shit! Did I miss 10 minutes?
Why is it bouncing around like this?
This is weird. Why is it starting here? So then we get the opening credits roll, and the music is legendary, right? Like,
Yes,
Vince,
that's as
you
soon as
being
I
the
was going to
music
get to
guy.
that. Yeah, the score is fantastic.
Christopher Young
Yeah.
is amazing.
It gave me, I don't know why, but it gave me like Terminator vibe. That just dark, eerie, ominous. Not really a melody to it. Just
Brad Fidel, you mean?
well, yeah, but just the sounds of it were
Doom.
just.
yeah,
The use of strings, the use of the timpani drums. It was awesome. It was like this guy.
outstanding.
Yeah.
The-
Orchestra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? Since we're doing a Frequels episode, EJ, I will be making the Spider-Man reference today.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man 3 score, EJ Leeson, done by Christopher Young.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Because Danny Elfman sat out on that one. Same guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was good. It was really good.
Oh,
God.
now we're sued.
Yeah, I love this Spider-Man 3
I do too.
score.
It's in my head a lot.
I defend Spider-Man 3.
We all did. No,
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
a
you're
safe
on
place.
board with it? Oh,
Venom.
okay.
Venom's my favorite Marvel character. So yeah,
Okay.
Venom can do no wrong by me.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember when that came out. Roy was the only person I know that would defend that movie with me, and I was like, guys, I liked it. I'm a Spider-Man fan, and I thought it was pretty good. Everyone else is like, it sucked. It's the worst movie that ever came out.
No, it's good.
And then years later, you and I would be in another camp called
Right.
Halloween Ends.
Yes, yeah, and that it's gonna find its audience.
I agree.
I think it's the.
You hear that,
Halloween-
Joe Patino? I know you're listening.
I think Halloween 3 or Halloween Ends is going to be like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, where in time, people who are revisiting Halloween movies, maybe like new fans for the first time are watching it, they're going to be like, wow, Halloween Ends, great movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a few years down the road.
Yeah, but give it some time.
Give it some time.
So the movie begins, and we find out that we see this soldier, and he's in his bunker playing with the configuration, the lament box, it's called, and he opens it by accident, and chains pop out, and we basically see the rebirth of him into Pinhead. Now we cut to present day, and Kirsty wakes up. She's the main protagonist of the first film, kind of.
Yeah, no,
Right?
she is.
Yeah.
And she learns that her boyfriend Steve was sent home after contract disputes.
Right. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
was he in the first movie and didn't make
Yeah,
it?
she
to
had
the
like a
second?
boyfriend who, within minutes, she forgets about. Well, I guess once your father's skin is ripped off, I suppose you do forget about certain things.
Oh yeah, when the detective is like, yeah, we sent your boyfriend home.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing
She's
else
just
about
like, what
him.
was his name, Rick? She's like, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Everything checked out for him, but she's still
She's
not
there.
okay. All right. But yeah, so she wakes up and she's basically in a psych ward, not even like downtown at like the like in
The
a
hospital.
police station,
Yeah.
or in a hospital.
They just
Right to
They're
the
just
psych.
like, just throw her in a psych ward. That's a good spot. So she's told about her boyfriend checking out and stuff.
From Lieutenant Michael Shannon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, looks
He has
just
a
like
little
him.
Michael Shannon. So
I think she looks like a cross between if Winona Ryder and Patricia Arquette had a baby, that's what she looks like.
Oh,
or
I see.
the girl who plays 11 on Stranger
Yes.
Things, an
Oh,
older
That's
version
what
of her.
I kept seeing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
every
see
time I
that.
saw her, I thought
Can
of
you
her.
see that?
Have you ever seen Stranger Things?
I actually have never seen movies
You
or
might-
TV shows.
I was gonna say you might like that.
I don't
Yeah. No, so this detective is trying to find out info from Kirsty. I keep wanting to say her actress's name.
Just
like
say her
Ashley
name.
Lawrence. Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, in real life is the nicest friggin' person.
Let me
Yeah.
guess. You met her at some
I did.
God
Yep,
damn it.
Monster Mania.
We clicked, man.
Fucking nerds.
You got over Lightning Bug too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She actually recommended a movie to me that I think about pretty much every single day of my life. It's this little independent movie that she was in, and she was talking about how hard she had to work to get the role. You know, it's called Lightning Bug. It's from like 2004. Just a great movie, great cast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Check it out. I don't want to say too much about it.
Drama,
No,
comedy.
it's-
What do we?
You just want to spoil it.
What is it though? Like
It's
what?
like a drama. Yeah,
Drama?
it's there is the guy who made it, Robert Hall. It's basically like a slightly fictionalized version of his life,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
how he like basically grew up in like a really bad part of Alabama. You know, like where like he was a huge horror movie buff, and everybody in his town basically was like, "Oh, he's a Satan worshiper." You know, like you're basically trying to crush his dreams. And all he wants to do is basically just escape this town and move out to Los Angeles to make movies. And he's just like a big horror buff. So guess what? I loved it.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know why you ever related to that movie.
Yeah.
No. So.
I crush people's dreams. That's
Yeah.
why I related to it.
But yeah, so this detective is trying to get info out of Ashley Lawrence, and meanwhile, this cop is at the house of Kirsty's house, and he finds another skeleton in the closet, and he just immediately shoots, like instead of questioning it.
Well, he finds one in like the chest, and
Right.
then as he turns away, the other one falls on top of him, and he turns around and blasts it like 6 times.
Yeah,
It's a skeleton.
It's just like boom, boom, boom.
He was firing bullets after the chamber was empty.
Yeah,
That's how that guy was feeling.
Yeah.
It's almost like when Vince saw a sock puppet.
right, yeah. Or those wasps.
And then,
It's like-
and then I like how they explain like there was an accident with the when they're talking when the detective is talking to him. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, there was an accident with it." No, he fucking shot the thing 6 times.
yeah,
There's no accident.
No accident.
That's how
there.
we're writing up the report. The corpse came at me.
The corpse came at me, bro. You didn't resist.
Stop resisting.
Chamber into him.
I'm not resisting. So
Corpse puts its hands in the air.
So the cop calls over to Bronson, Detective Bronson, and reports they found a mattress. And
And he proceeds to shoot.
The mattress.
he shoots the mattress. No, that's not real. But they do find this mattress, which is like covered in blood. And they're like...
with chains on it.
and with
Chains and hooks on it.
Yeah. And they're like... They're told, oh, bag it up for evidence. So we cut over to Dr. Chenard performing some heavy-duty brain surgery.
Wait, you missed the part which drove me crazy. She was screaming, "Destroy the mattress!"
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
No,
she
I
said
do-
it, so, and
yeah.
I was just like, "It's a fucking mattress." But I
Yeah.
guess is that like the vehicle?
Yeah, is that the portal, quote unquote?
So they don't ever explicitly say this in the first 2 movies, but I always got the impression that where you die, right, is how
Right.
you can come back.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you like say like died here in 3 Jacks, and then like somebody cut themselves and dripped blood over the spot where you died, you would come back. I don't know if that's what they're saying.
Right.
The movie didn't explain it.
Yeah. My thing was
But I
just
also don't need them to.
you could have come up with something cooler than a wet, soggy mattress. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
A
She's
wet,
like, destroy the mattress.
Destroy the mattress.
Yeah. And, but yeah, no, so we cut over to Dr. Chenard performing this brain surgery, and he's talking about how brains are sort of like puzzles. And Dr. Chenard is kind of like 50% Alan Rickman, 50% James Remar, 100% asshole. And so
That math works out.
Yeah.
I literally in my notes just said, can we ever just have one doctor who doesn't go mad with power?
Right?
I hope not.
I hope not. Keep them going.
In horror movies, they all go mad with power.
Yeah, they're always like, Except Dr. Loomis. Dr. Loomis always kind of kept it real, right?
He was quite insane by 5.
He was
Do you know
insane.
when you watch the 5th movie?
It's always crazy.
Jamie's literally running to Michael Myers for help. That's how unstable that guy gets. Michael's like, whoa.
Jamie! Yeah. Well, even in the first one, I love when he yells at Lonnie. He's like,
Get your ass away from there.
yeah. So he gets...
It's funny those kids realize that it was him. They're like, what?
What?
What's that old man hiding in the bushes for? You see in the movie, it's funny.
It's
but
funny.
in real life,
Yeah,
I don't know
in
if
real
it'd be
life.
funny. It'd
Even-
be like if a kid walked up and maced a wasp. It'd just be weird.
What's
Same
great is
energy.
I have no idea what they're talking about. They could be talking about anything right now, and I have no idea. I just let them go. But
Yeah, same energy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He
but-
feels as blind as some wasps.
Just got mazed, yep.
Yeah.
He's over here
Mason wasps.
blinding
Yeah.
wasps. Like a psycho.
I don't know why I open up to you guys. That was a personal story. I shared it with you.
No.
Don't worry. We only have probably about an hour left of this podcast. It's going to get brought up 10 more times. We're both sitting here thinking, how can we work this in?
Yeah. So Dr. Chernard gets a call, and he takes a walk and talk with Kyle, who is kind of his underling, another doctor.
Physician's assistant, maybe?
Yeah.
I
Something
believe
like
his
that.
name was Dr. Love Interest.
Dr. Love Interest, yes.
Yeah. And so, and they chat about Kirsty and her condition. So Dr. Chernard has a chat with Kirsty, but she warns Bronson and Chernard to destroy the mattress.
Yeah.
Or else Julia is going to come back. Plus, it's not Tempur-Pedic, so she was already against that mattress. So she was
This
like,
episode brought to you by Tim.
Tempur-Pedic. So Kirsty is asleep that night, and she wakes up, and she takes a little stroll, and she comes across a silent girl, like a girl in her room, and she's
Tiffany.
like playing with, Tiffany, who's playing with this puzzle.
Now, when you want to talk about somebody looking like Patricia Arquette,
Oh, that girl, yeah.
she
yeah.
looks
from
just
Nightmare on
like
Elm
her.
Street 3, which, by the
Yeah.
way, the aesthetic of this movie is very Nightmare 3.
I
Oh,
was thinking that
there's
too.
so
Just
many-
the hospital itself.
Yeah, Becca said that last night too. I was like,
And
I think it was
even-
very influenced by the success of Dream Warriors.
Oh, even like the whole climax of the film is basically like them when they're trying to find Kirsty
Yeah.
and they're all split up and all that.
And they both
very
fall into
much
that,
Dream
like,
Warriors.
that fantasy horror.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. So Kirsty is like, destroy the mattress. But yeah, later that night she wakes up, she finds Tiffany, and Kyle kind of fills Kirsty in on the history of Tiffany. And he tells her, he's like, yeah, Tiffany is this complete mystery. Like, she doesn't talk. When she arrives, she
Just plays puzzles all day.
just plays with puzzles.
All she
and
does is solve puzzles. It would be a shame if she were to get some sort of demonic puzzle box. You wouldn't happen to know of one, would you? Tiffany would love to solve it.
yeah. So
It's
Kirsty,
almost like she was tailor-made for the plot.
yeah, pretty interesting.
But isn't that why the doctor
I know,
told...
I'm just
all right,
being a
all right,
dick.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
good, fine.
But Kirsty heads to bed, and that's when she sees a skinned version of her father on the floor.
I hated that.
I
You
didn't like-
hated that?
I hated
didn't like that
because
either.
right before that, Kyle tried to give her the medication, and she's like, "Buddy, I'm not
good."
fucking crazy."
Yeah.
And then 10 seconds later, she's licking blood off the wall. Like, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you are.
Nuts.
Kyle,
Like, that was
Very
so
I'll
accurate.
take two.
I'll take that too. So yeah, she sees her father, and he has this nice message that he wrote to her: "I'm in hell. Please help.
I believe
Help
the
me.
line is,
Please help
I'm
me."
in hell. Help me.
Yeah.
Which I believe was my text message to you when I was watching Rise of Skywalker.
Right. There are many times I have used that image. I'm in hell. Please help. Yeah. Help me. So, anyways, we see, as you said, she takes a little bit of the blood and she
Rubs it
tastes
on her lips.
Yeah,
she
rubs
she
it on
doesn't
her
even
lips.
taste it. She just puts it on her lips. She's like, let me just put that.
tastes
there.
like
Yeah.
family
Like,
blood.
oh my God.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe after this, I'll dabble with cannibalism.
Yeah. So then the next day, Dr. Channard checks in on the basement floor where the real action is.
The maintenance room or the maintenance floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, a very sensitive portrayal of the mentally ill.
He's like taking a walk, and you just see,
He goes room to room. You hear children screaming. You hear
there's just
moaning
all these
and
violent screams, and it almost feels like a hell in itself. You know what I mean? And so, meanwhile, Kyle checks in on Kirsty, and she tells him that her father stopped by. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Last night he came to me, and
Your father's
he
a
subtracted
radiator?"
What are you talking about? So then Kyle overhears that Dr. Channard is getting the mattress delivered to his house. And he's like, "I don't care about the bloodstains. That's why I want it."
I'm gonna save a fortune on a new mattress. Just take shit from the evidence locker. Wait, why does he have it? It's a hospital.
Yeah, so that it doesn't make sense.
That's more like evidence or something.
It's in his house. Yeah. Why did they even offer that to him? Why did they offer that as a we're getting rid of shit? Do you want the mattress, the bloody mattress? Why was he even offered that?
I would like to see a scene where he's trying to get the mattress from the police. Well, hey, you guys are just gonna file that away, right?
Why don't I just take it?
You just clean it off a little bit.
That's what they were doing when they were talking in the lobby. Like after he left Christy with Kyle, and he was like, "Hey, I'll be back." And then you see him talking with the cop, and then he comes back and he's like, "I gotta go again." And then, that was it.
I was just
I
gonna
assume
say
that was him talking about the mattress, getting it set up.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, 2 scenes ago, the detective was like, "Wrap it up. It's evidence."
It's evidence.
Yeah.
And then the next one, he's like, "Give me the bed. I don't care the price. I'll take it."
That would have been a good scene. He just pulls out like a wad of cash and slaps it into the cop's hand.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, why not? But somehow Dr. Channard gets this mattress. So then Kirsty fills in Dr. Channard and Kyle on her family history with her Uncle Frank, her dad, Julia, Hell, the Cenobites, and how Julia brought Frank back and left Julia to be killed, and the Cenobites come back to collect Frank. So she fills in. She's basically like,
Not
here's the plot of
confusing
the
at
first
all.
movie.
Not at all.
Not confusing one bit.
Right.
I've tracked it all along.
It all tracked.
I'm up to date. Yep, it all tracks.
You're like, I got all of this.
All
This
that.
is
Yeah, all that
perfect.
information that was thrown at us. Yeah, it was perfect.
Here's a whole recap of the first movie. And then she gives you that 10-minute recap. And I'm like, you could have just tell people watch the first movie.
Just so you know, I'm being facetious. I was even more lost after that.
Yeah.
If I was her, I would have been like, I would have just simplified it. I've been like, Julia and my uncle murdered people.
I get.
I would have left out and then there was this demon with chattering teeth.
Yeah. A guy with pins in his head. Some lady.
You gotta leave out some details.
Right.
Because then you can start getting shit done. Start investigating stuff, but when you're like, there's a possessed mattress, I tells you. And don't ever say, I tells you at the end of your rant. Because it just makes you sound crazy.
It just makes you sound nuts. And so at Dr. Channard's, the mattress arrived. And he sets it up in his office. Good spot. And Kyle breaks in. And he's weirded out by the mattress and all the other findings.
We're 17 episodes in, and this is our 10th breaking and entering, just so you know. Wow. Everybody breaks in and enters in these friggin' movies.
Yeah, they really do.
That's how you get shit done. You break
he's like
in.
Dexter Morgan.
Yeah.
He's just like some asshole who works in a hospital, and he's got this expert lock-picking skills.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
But you're right. Another
movie where somebody, it's a horror movie trope, I guess, breaking and entering.
I guess you're right. They do that a lot for plot conveniences.
Yeah.
I guess
usually your good guys are breaking into people's houses.
Usually.
The only time it made sense was like Charlie Brewster doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Remember how awkward he did it though?
Yeah, he was like so terrible at it. Yeah.
Hey kid.
Dr. Channard, the mattress arrives, and Kyle's like, weird. This is weird. He says weird about 18 times. He's like, fucking weird.
And then he hides behind a curtain.
So
funny they look down, he's his feet sticking out.
Just right there.
Yeah. Dr. Channard returns with a patient who
Who was the patient? I believe the fourth patient when he went into the maintenance room.
Yeah,
Right.
The third guy was
Screaming.
a jump scare, which I didn't. That's
Yeah,
unnecessary.
it was-
But the
yeah,
fourth
yeah.
guy, yeah.
I also had my AirPods on max volume when he screamed.
Oh, yeah. He's like, "Wah!" Like, why?
Just for a jump scare.
Yeah. So, he brings the patient and he lays him down onto the bed, the bloody bed, which belonged to Julia. And Dr. Chenard hands a blade to the patient, who starts to mutilate himself. Now, this is like where it does get like pretty gross and
I
graphic.
liked the maggots. I thought that was a nice touch. I thought that was very disgusting and disturbing.
Yeah.
Can I read you
Yeah.
what my notes say?
No.
It says, the scene where the man cuts himself was about the time when I started imagining Vince watching this movie, and then I started laughing.
Yeah, me too. That's so funny. I was like, oh, Vince is probably going to be so grossed out by this and be like, what the fuck, guys? What the
No, this was way. I had those feelings, but way before this part.
Oh, that's so funny because I was like, at this point, I was like, oh, Vince is probably like, why am I doing this show?
Kids walk into the room.
And, yeah.
Daddy, what are you watching?
And again, I set a timer for all of these movies 20 minutes in, and like
Yeah.
as soon as I start, and then 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh my god, there's so much movie left. That's why I was joking. The 1980s classic Never Ending Story. I never
Yeah.
thought this movie was going to end.
Oh,
it was.
I know. It
Yeah.
went on
And
and
on
on
and
and
on.
on.
Yeah.
I know, and I watched this movie numerous times as a
Why?
kid. Why? Because I thought, Hellraiser was cool. I
Okay.
was like, oh, this is a horror movie? I'm in. And it was on TV, and I would watch
we'll
it.
talk about this at the end, but I will defend this movie.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So Dr. Chenard hands him this blade, and he starts to self-mutilate. And he gets blood, like, everywhere. All over Dr. Chenard's new bed.
And his face, too.
and-
He
yeah.
squirted on his
And
face. That was weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sure enough, out pops skinned Julia, who murders the patient and begins eating him. And she's like crawling around on the floor, like chasing after the guy. And what were you guys thinking when watching this scene?
She's so wet. Why is she? It's like it's
Yeah, she
very
was soaking
moist
wet.
and it's very slippery and how don't. And I knew she was never going to get to the curtain to pull it down because
Yeah.
that wouldn't be convenient for the plot. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just it was a lot. It was very heavy-handed.
That's the kind of horror this is, though.
Okay, I get that.
It's like this weird nightmare shit.
And I could see people who like the gore in certain movies just getting this is a gore fest. This is blood.
Yeah.
This is muscles. This is
It's like mean-spirited,
hooks ripping,
cruel.
and yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like when you watch. I'll use Scream in a positive, but
Right.
way. I'm just gonna say this, but Scream is very much like you almost feel safe watching something like that,
Right.
Whereas like Razor is just it's a nightmare.
It's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
full-on nightmare.
Yeah, like that stuff in that scene, like they would never make something like that today.
No.
Because it is. It's a little disturbing.
Yeah, I
It
felt
is.
disturbed when I saw it because I haven't seen anything like that. Like the body with no skin, I was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and
I-
the actor-
you've seen it in
the actor-
textbooks. That's about it.
yeah.
The actors that was cutting himself, like they felt like real screams to me. That wasn't like
Yeah.
like movie screaming.
That
like he's
the
seen
guy that's
corpses.
yeah.
But to me, I think that's such an effective scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was essentially like a 2-hour-long Tool video. Have you guys ever seen a
Oh,
Tool video?
yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I got out of this. So I
Yeah.
kind of liked it. Now I don't want to.
Would you say that Tool ripped off Hellraiser then?
Probably.
Probably.
He's one of the greatest graphic
Incredible
artists of our
credit.
time. It's too much. It's just too much gore. It was over the top for me. So I didn't. That's why I kind of was like out on it.
Yeah. But you do have to
Earlier in the
agree-
year, Vince watched a movie called
Terrifier
Terrifier 2.
2.
and this was too much.
Now
This
for
was too much.
for all the negative that I do have to say, the set design, a lot of the shit looked cool. Like
The makeup.
Yeah, the makeup
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
Like set design with chains dangling and like just lighting and stuff. Like that opening scene where he opens the box and all the windows go black, but then he has that little cascade of light coming down from the top, and it's just him in like being with a solo light, that looked beautiful. Like some of the stuff
outstanding,
looks really cool.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I would use Scream again. Scream has like a very conventional narrative, right?
Right.
Hellraiser, at the very least, the first two movies feel like a weird dream.
Yeah, they're feel
very
like a nightmare.
fantastical and-
Yeah.
like a nightmare.
It's like a LSD trip gone wrong.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because it's not.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, like, I love LSD. But like, I like when movies are not safe sometimes. Like when you're watching something like that, and you know, like any other movie, it's gonna cut, and you're waiting for the cut, and the cut doesn't come, and you're just like, how far are we gonna go with this? When she's just like Julia's wrestling him on the ground.
Yeah.
And then
It's
starts
really
eating the
disturbing.
back of his head and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
just
and
like,
it's
ugh.
you know, whatever. I think that's kind of rad.
What is she exactly eating? His soul, his life force? Or,
I would say
assumed it
life
was
force. Yeah.
yeah.
Like it's and each time one of these what are they called, like the creature
Cenobites?
Cenobite?
no, like Julia and Frank, when they come back, it's like a certain name, I forget what it's called, but
Squishies.
Squishies, when they come back, and if they feed on people, they start to regain their
regenerate.
Yeah.
They're almost like vampires in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah, in a weird way.
Skin vampires.
Skin vampires, yeah.
I like that.
But in the first one,
Back to my LSD taking.
yeah,
Skin vampires.
skin vampires coming this fall.
AJ, let's write skin vampires.
Let's do it. And people are like, that sounds like a porn.
And you know what, EJ? It will
be. Yeah.
I will definitely watch that.
So
Next on Frequels.
next on prequels. So for Dr. Chenard, he sees Julia, and the makeup is incredible, by the way.
Yes.
And
A lot of
Those eyes,
practical.
too.
Yeah.
those eyes like
are like
Creepy. So
blown
creepy.
out.
They freak me
yeah,
out.
they're like sky blue, and they just stick out so much because the rest of her is all skinned and
I want
red.
to throw
and,
this out there about Julia now that she's been, we'll say, born.
Right.
Which is interesting too, like the agony of birth, like the violence in that scene before she comes back. It's perfect. But Julia as a villain is such a missed opportunity.
Yes.
Because, you know, I get the sense that, like, if I'm correct, and you tell me if I'm wrong with this, I got the sense that in the 80s it was all about, like, who's going to be the next Jason, the next Freddy. I don't think that Clive Barker probably ever had in his head that, like, Pinhead would be the guy. I think he's probably aiming for somebody like Julia. Because Julia is a really terrific villain.
Oh, she's just like...
She's like almost like a witch in a fairy tale.
Yeah.
You know?
She is
I think
outstanding.
they allude to that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say she's the main villain of the first one. Her and Frank, but...
And her descent into darkness is
Yeah.
kind of rad. That's why I like these movies. Like the first two, I stand by them. You know, and a lot of it has to do with her. Because like even when I was a kid, I was always kind of off put by her. And then like as I got older, I'm like, no, she's actually kind of like a formative foe. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and especially in this movie,
Yeah,
she
she's
is
awesome.
like, yeah,
Claire Higgins, is that her name?
I think so.
She's got like this real like scary face.
To the
Yeah.
It's like she looks like a witch.
She's like beautiful, but then in a like the evil kind of like Snow White, like evil queen kind of way.
And this movie too, it's like, you know, for the time in which we live right now, where there's so many movies that are trying to like explore like female empowerment.
Yeah.
This movie had that in spades, and
Right.
it felt very organic and like not like they were pandering to anybody.
No.
like
Yeah.
Kirsty is very forthright and strong, and she's just like, oh, my dad's in hell. I'm going to hell to get him.
Yeah.
Fuck you, what dreams may come.
Yeah.
We got here first. And then, like, you know, like Julia is a terrific villain. And then you have Tiffany. She doesn't say much, but she gets the job done.
Gets it
solving
done.
puzzles when other people can't.
Yes. Claire Higgins, Hellraiser, Dangerous Liaisons, Pride and
That's a great
Prejudice,
flick.
That's a great
Toast, Cassandra's Dream. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Dude, I'm proud of you, Vince. You did not make It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I could have. I'm
reference.
trying not to. I'm trying to cut back.
Dangerous Liaison.
It's my
But yeah, so for Dr. Chenard,
Le
it is
Liaison Dangereux. Okay, go ahead.
for him. It's like love at first sight. he is like, "Oh, hey, baby," and
Direct line from the film.
Yeah.
and he starts making out with her, and she has like no flesh.
That turned
At
me
all.
off too to this movie of like no, just
Yeah.
I
You
wouldn't
only
do that.
say that because the mic's on.
No,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't waken something in me.
So the next day, Julia is in the living room, and Dr. Chenard hooks up with her. And well, first he
I like
gets her
that you
some
said
nice
that
clothes.
in the form of a question.
Yeah, like well, he
Hooks up with her.
Yeah, he gets her some nice clothes, like a dress and stuff. And
He
bandages
he puts
her
a,
up.
a white 3-piece suit on
Yeah,
her.
that
and
was
then-
hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
what was your thought process behind that?
I think they
doctor?
were going for like a classic Universal Monsters design, like the
and not
The
to mention
Invisible
you
Man,
could have
Claude Rains,
you
yeah.
could have gone black suit, dark
Yeah.
blue suit,
Right.
white suit. What is this,
suit.
Miami Vice?
It's like,
no,
hey,
what are
throw
you
this
doing?
on.
You
Yeah.
know, and again, just in terms of my defense for this movie, again, not a conventional film. Her wrapped up in the bandages and that dress, it's solely for a great visual.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you look at it and you're like, it's striking.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's confusing,
very.
but at the same time, you look at it and you're like, that's just like what a horror movie looks like.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, and then and Dr. Chenard is like, let's get some wine to get this party started.
Dude, when she drank the wine, I wanted her to just feel like spit it out because it's like to think it was burning her.
Yeah. She's like, ouchie.
It's like she takes like a very sophisticated sip and then it just like leaks back into the glass.
Hey. So back
I
at
started laughing about that last night.
Back at the asylum, Kirsty gets informed by Kyle that she is right because he actually witnessed all of this from behind the curtain. And he witnessed like literally everything that Dr. Chenard did. He sees the birth of Julia.
I can't imagine how excited he was to tell somebody. You are not going to believe
right?
Yeah.
what I just saw.
Right. He's like, shit went down last night. And Kirsty's like, I told you. I told you.
Most
And listen-
satisfying I told you so ever in the
Right.
history of.
So Kirsty insists to go to Dr. Chenard's because he has a collection of boxes and she wants one of them.
What are the boxes called again?
The lament configuration.
The lament configuration. Okay.
And so she's like, I want to get my hands on one of those to get my father back. And Kyle agrees to help. And I'm like, Kyle, no. Why don't you guys go to the police?
Yeah, right?
No, Kyle.
Yeah, get some. They get that trigger happy cop in there.
Yeah, that guy. Somebody. Not you guys. And so Dr. Chenard and Julia have been busy getting snacks for Julia and complete her form. And boom, Julia's back.
Do you know what's sad? Because like they just to kind of elaborate on what you said, they walk into that room and it's just all these like dead women
Yeah.
hanging from hooks, and it's sad because I guess they got all those girls into the room with promises of Stanley Cups.
Oh, yeah. You guys want some? Oh well, Dr. Chenard, how's he sound? He's like, would you like some Stanley Cups?
I wanted to make a relevant joke.
I love
that
it.
within, I'd say a year will be completely forgotten.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll be
Stanley
like,
Cups.
what? To be honest, when I first heard about it, I'm like,
The hockey thing?
yeah.
That's
I
what
was like,
thought.
oh, hockey's like getting that popular
Yeah.
now. And then I was like,
Yeah.
but what does that mean? And then I had to like look it up, and then I was like, oh, this has nothing to do with hockey at all.
Yeah.
And I was kind of disappointed. I was like, actually, like, yeah, hockey, let's go. Like,
For a moment, I thought I was having it's a very macho moment in my life.
yeah.
Because Becca brought it up. She's like, oh, did you hear about the Stanley Cups? I'm like, what, fucking hockey?
Yeah, like,
She's
Of course I did.
what do you think I'm not into hockey?
I pushed her.
What do you think? But yeah, no. Hearing about it, I was like, oh, I totally thought it was like an NHL thing, and then it's not at all. So Julia gets her form back because she's been busy eating other souls, and so Kyle and Kirsty sneak into Chenard's, and Kyle comes across Julia.
Wait, this was actually the thing I hated the most about this film.
Yeah.
Was that she
Just
was like,
this?
hey, Yes, this was the main thing. Hey, we're going to go steal one of these. And they're like, okay, let's go. The first room they break into is the room with those boxes. And Kyle's like, I'm going to go check the rest of the house. Like, what do you mean? Grab one and go, dude.
He's like, I don't know. I think they might actually have Stanley Cups.
Go check
I
the
saw the
cabinets
sign
quick.
outside.
See, I thought you were going to touch on something that I thought was weird. Is that they're like running across the yard holding hands.
Yeah.
He like holds her hand the entire way through the house, and I'm like,
Let
why
go
are they
of my
holding
hand.
hands?
He
Yeah,
was
I could
like-
run faster.
He was white knuckled too. I noticed that his knuckles were so white. He was great. Her hand
Yeah,
was killing
I'm like-
her
Yeah.
after that.
I'm like, honestly, in this situation, like, that she should be leading the charge.
yeah.
Because she's like a total badass in this movie, and he's
Yeah.
just kind of this fumbling moron.
Who's like, stumbling into the scenes, basically. Like, like, whoa, Dr. Chenard's house. Well, here I am.
We got the box. Let's push our luck.
Hey,
see
I
what
see
else
you're
is
looking
going
at
on out
Tiffany. Yeah.
Let's take chances.
Yeah. And so he comes across Julia. Meanwhile, Kirsty finds the old
I
picture.
wrote, why was that ugly man holding Kirsty's hand while running across the yard?
Oh,
That was my note.
Kyle's that. He reminded me of
Are
Steve
you going to
Gutenberg.
defend how handsome he is?
He reminded me of Steve Gutenberg a little bit.
He also kind of reminded me
Right?
of Dr. Gordon in Nightmare 3.
Oh,
little
okay.
bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Who cares?
Okay, you know what? Who cares? So, meanwhile, Kirsty finds the old pic of Pinhead as a soldier, and she kind of puts it together.
Was
like,
it a Nazi soldier?
No. I think he was a British.
A British soldier? Okay.
Yeah. And and she kind of puts it together because luckily in this book,
Wait, are you talking about like Pinhead? He was in like a Nazi uniform.
I thought he was in the picture that he had. I was like, is that a
Dennis
Nazi?
and Dee's
Yes.
Pop-Pop?
Don't.
so she's looking at the book and she sees the picture of him, and then she goes to the very next page and it looks like like a weird profile picture of like Pinhead. And she's like,
I better
and then
take
she
this for
flips-
later.
Yeah. She's like flipping it back and forth, like maybe, maybe.
I like that there's a lot of information in that little scrapbook that he has that really moves the plot forward.
Oh yeah,
I did like that
Yeah.
actually. When she was flipping through the pages, I was like, I'm getting just like a quick 5 seconds of lore, and I love it. And that was
Yeah.
At that point, you're just like holding your head. Like, what is happening
What
in
else?
this movie?
like finally some information.
Thank you. Yeah, so as this is happening, Julia tricks Kyle into sucking out
Which
his
he
life
deserved.
force.
He deserved that for being
Yeah.
so fucking stupid.
He was like,
That's what he gets.
wow, look at all these dead bodies. And she's like, isn't it crazy? And,
Yeah, she opened the door and he's like, yeah, I'll go in there.
yeah. And then she like,
You guys
closes
really have
the
Stanley
door.
Cups?
Yeah. He's like, whoa. And then she goes up to him and just puts her hand into the back
Of his head.
skull.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's a nice move.
That
Yeah.
was sick, right? I love that.
Can I interject
That was a
something?
disgusting noise though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
like
so
that.
gross. It freaks me out. Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
interject something real quick?
No.
It says, while watching the movie, Becca informed me there was someone on the Titanic named Major Butts.
Major butts.
That's real. Moving on.
Moving on. Okay. So
Do you want to hear my Titanic joke? No, don't. Let's go.
No.
It's terrible.
Now we
soon.
have to.
All right, so there's a group of people standing on the Titanic. The Titanic just crashed into the thing. There's like there's a
iceberg.
chef. The thing. Yeah, fucking
Whatever that
iceberg.
thing was.
Anyway, you guys saw the movie. There's a chef out there. There's a priest out there. There's a teacher. There's a lawyer.
A Celine Dion.
A Celine Dion, and the chef goes, "We have to get everybody onto the boat." And the teacher goes, "Well, we have to worry about the women and children first." And the lawyer goes, "Fuck the children." And the priest goes, "I don't know if we're gonna have enough time."
Oh no.
All right, moving on. I told you I didn't want to tell it.
I wish I had like a sad sounding trombone.
There it is. You don't need it. You got it.
So
40 minutes into the movie, and where's Pinhead?
yeah. So Kirsty goes upstairs and she finds Kyle dead, and Julia knocks her out. Like she's just like boom and
One hit.
hits her.
Yeah, that was a mean hook.
She has some
Yeah.
cool lines though.
Oh, she did.
Queen.
Oh
Be
yeah.
a queen. Yeah. But yeah, she like knocks her out, kind of showing how much power.
What's
Julia
the
has.
scream saying?
Oh, boom, bam, bitch went down. Yeah, and so
Sid, super bitch.
yeah. So Dr. Chenard at this point, he returns home, and he has Tiffany, who is like the puzzle master, and she.
It's a great description. Puzzle master.
Yeah, puzzle master, and he and Julia watch.
That's what it says in the script.
Yeah.
Tiffany,
master.
a puzzle master type.
Puzzle master type. That was actually the call sheet for auditions. Girl,
Puzzle master.
female puzzle master type.
They're like, Lindsay, I think it'd be great for this.
Yeah, she's like, okay. She's like, I play
Put
Connect
that
4.
Rubik's Cube down and go try out. Fulfill your dreams.
So
They got Stanley Cups.
Stanley Cups that. So he and Julia kind of watch on as she plays with the limit configuration, and Tiffany opens the box, and out comes the whole Cenobite crew, led by Pinhead. And Pinhead immediately is not falling for it. He's like, "This, what's the line exactly?"
He's like, it's not hands that call us.
It's the desire. Yeah.
"It's desire."
You
Yeah.
opened it. We came.
I love their voices. It
Yeah.
sounds so good.
They really do.
It's not.
We will know your flesh.
That's a great line later on when he's like, your suffering will be legendary even in hell.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that
For,
was so
for
good.
any
Yeah.
problems you guys may have with this movie, Doug Bradley cannot be one of them.
That's-
He is the best,
Fucking phenomenal commanding performance.
I use that line at work all the time.
Which one? I will know your flesh. Or
You opened it. We came.
We're gonna have to say that a few times. So
Yeah.
episode.
So Dr. Chenard and Julia, they enter the void, and this is at this point Kirsty wakes up, and she actually enters it too, as well as Tiffany. And so in the void, I think is a good name for it, right? They don't really say.
I thought it was hell. I thought it was just all the
They're
hell.
Yeah.
inside the lament configuration,
right.
right?
I
don't know.
Yeah, I just call it like the void.
They're
I
inside
don't
like
know.
the box thing
Yeah,
as a maze. Okay, I'll buy that.
that's what I got.
You don't have a choice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey, like, so all you assholes at home listening right now, you don't know this, but I actually did bring the lament configuration.
Again, be nice to the
have
listeners.
We'll have a photo of it up later. Becca bought it for me for Christmas. But if you look at the top of it, that's probably what the top of hell. Like if you're looking at the map, where
Yeah,
they are right
okay.
now. All
I
those
have you
little-
having a map of hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
The box, right?
Yeah.
I'm cutting this right out.
No,
No,
leave it in.
no, that's
that's
staying
it.
right
That
in.
should stay right in. Yeah. So in the
Oh,
void.
by the way, I haven't said fuck you to our fans in a while. If you're listening, Jesus, stop it.
Jesus wept.
Some guy just shut it out. He just closed out the app.
So in the void.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. In the void, shit gets weird. We have jugglers, giant babies, funhouse mirrors, and that's like the normal stuff. So Kirsty comes.
I like that one room that has all the sock puppets.
Oh yeah.
Why? And the wasps.
That's his personality.
The
Yeah.
maced wasps
Yeah, they're just soaking with their eyes.
bumping into each other.
And it's those flatbeds that come out of the wall. And it's just wasps that they can't see. They're like, ah.
You know, for the record, when you really think about what was going on with those poor wasps, they were literally just doing wasp business. you
Yeah.
know? And then some maniac
Came in with
and
mace.
maces
Yeah,
them.
sorry.
And then they look
Yeah.
outside when their eyes clear up and they see him rolling around on the ground screaming because he maced himself.
You ever mace yourself? No. Why would you?
No.
Because I've never had issues with wasps.
I just let them live their lives, man.
Again,
Yeah.
guys, I was 6 or like 7 years old, but okay.
I was 36 years old.
I was 36
It was yesterday.
last month.
I was a little late coming tonight because I was macing wasps.
Sorry, guys. But Kirsty comes across the Cenobites, who are pretty pumped for her company. They're like, "Oh, Kirsty, you're not getting away from us this time." And I don't know why they sound like that, but
Were they in Louisiana?
Oh, baby, you ain't getting away. No.
That Creole.
Yeah. So she's like, guys, I didn't call you. I don't know what this is right now, but I swear I'm just like here to look for my dad.
I do like the idea that you can bargain with them. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that as a horror movie trope yet.
Yeah.
And to them, they're like, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're
What do you
in
got?
our-
Yeah, they're like, we're here
we
for,
have
like, ever.
eternity, and people are gonna know. We're gonna know your flesh in time. That's what it.
Yeah,
basically-
they don't care about time.
Yeah, what do you
It's
what do you
go
have to
wear
trade?
yourself out.
What do you have of value? Is that a Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
I'll let you go if I can have that Stanley Cup. I'm
That'd be so
dark.
funny. He's like, "What deal could you offer us?" And she just pulls up
A
the
Stanley
He's
Cup.
like, "Oh!" The chain reaches out and grabs it, and pulls it back.
And they all gather around it.
She just like slowly backs out of hell. Credits.
Movie's over.
They only need one Stanley Cup, and all the Cenobites are like drawn to it.
Yo, go get us like 3 more. You can have your dad back.
You get us like 3 of these.
Yo, the female Cenobite really wants it in blue.
I really wanted in blue.
Please, Kirsty, bring me back a blue.
Hell for us is not being fashionable.
Right. But it's so.
Check out my tits.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Dr. Chenard and Julia make their way through the tunnels of the void, like this maze. And Julia has such sights to show him, which is a quote from the first one.
Sights to show you.
And so she's like, I have such sights to show you. I can't even say it. And that
You know
and
you
he's-
can't say that to? The bees that he maced.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
wasps.
They're like blind. They went the
Yeah,
rest of
definitely.
their lives.
They should
like,
be.
Yeah. But
The one wasp goes home. Carl, what happened?
You're not gonna believe it.
Some maniac. He maced me.
he's like,
At
oh,
work."
great, now I have to do all the work myself. So maniac causes huge massacre. Now I have to do all the work. So meanwhile, as this is going on, Kirsty finds Tiffany and asks her for her help. Julia brings Dr. Chenard to meet the Leviathan, which is like this huge. It looks like the configuration, like the Lament configuration, but it's almost like a
long diamond.
Yeah.
and
Not much of a talker.
Yeah, doesn't really say much. But she's like, this is the Leviathan. And Dr. Chenard meets a fate tailor-made for him. He gets like these wires across his face.
Very
Like
cool
piano-
effects. I loved seeing that. That was cool.
Yeah.
The piano wires, multiple
Yeah.
piano wires dug into his face skin, which was brutal.
Sick.
Brutal.
What's his line? He says something like, to think I hesitated.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, that was neat. Yeah,
Like,
that was
because
cool.
whatever it is that's going on there, it looks horrific. And
He's like, I'm having a good
painful,
time.
Yeah.
But everyone seems to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all the Cenobites talk up pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? This is great.
This is good. Better than I thought.
I used to be a man who thought he had everything. I had a bloody mattress,
Yeah. He's like,
Stanley cups out the wazoo.
this makeover works for me.
I look awesome.
Yeah. I look great.
You know who never has to look for another Halloween costume ever again? This guy.
So Kirsty, meanwhile, comes across her Uncle Frank. And he's the one that actually sent her that message. He was the one that's like, I'm in hell. Please
That was
help.
cool because I actually didn't see that coming at all because I didn't see the first one.
Yes. Yeah, so
Yeah.
so that whole reveal, you're like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, dang. Who the hell
So
is
wait,
this guy?
so Jake, let me get this straight. You didn't foresee that her dead uncle tricked her into hell so that he could have sex with his niece?
No, not.
You did not see that
I
Didn't see
coming?
that coming.
Not till he had her up
That
against
old
the wall.
trick.
Not the butt.
That old thing. That's a Tuesday for me. No. That's
Okay,
a Bison thing.
No, I don't know.
Sorry.
So I feel like
Street
maybe
Fighter.
it's something-
Street Fighter reference. Sorry.
EJ,
Sure.
EJ, I know what I'm getting you for your next birthday. I'm editing this section
Oh,
out.
thank you. So Julia arrives and sees burnt Frank and arrives in time to rip his heart out.
Wait, can I say something that confused
No.
me here? Was that the main Pinhead, I guess, told her that she can't go visit her dad because he's in his own hell, but she went straight to Frank's hell?
Right.
So she can go to Frank's hell, but she can't go to her dad's? That didn't make any sense to me.
Hey,
Oh,
here's
there's a lot of questions. Like, I don't understand what death is in that world. Because it's like she rips his heart out and I guess he dies, but if you're in hell, aren't you already dead?
Yeah, technically
Yeah.
you're
I don't
already
get it.
dead.
he
yeah.
dies again.
So where does
Yeah.
it go after that?
2 deaths today.
Oh, 2 deaths.
Oh, 2 deaths? One of the things we say all the time on the show is it just let go of logic.
Okay,
It's not.
that's
Yeah,
what
it's
this
just,
movie just
it's
threw it out the
easier.
window.
Yeah, it's just easier that way if you just don't apply logic to anything that happens.
That's fair.
Yeah. And it's just like you're right though, because I even thought about that. I was like, when Uncle Frank got ripped apart in the last movie, like they had all the chains,
Yeah.
and he just exploded.
Was he-
Jesus.
Was that the guy at the beginning of this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like, so that's what's kind of going on in that scene. The guy that's all chained up and like gets torn apart.
Yeah.
He's wearing Kirsty's father's skin.
Yeah. Okay. This all tracks for me. Yeah. This all makes sense now.
So, you know what's really interesting is that there was a next day after this movie for her.
Yeah.
She really had to sit down and process everything.
Think about what
she'd
happened.
seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Although, you know
Yeah.
what? If it was me, I would go right to church and just start
Yeah.
praying.
I'll just like
I'm
stay
like,
there.
I have confirmation that there is some scary shit out there.
Yeah. So Julia, sees burnt Frank and arrives
Frank.
in time and rips out
Crispy
his
Frank.
Yeah, and rips his heart out. And Kirsty and Tiffany escape, and Julia is like chasing after, like slow, like the slow, like serial killer walk.
Power walk.
Yeah, she's
And
power
power
walking.
walking.
Yeah, like she's in the mall. She's like power walking.
6:30 a.m.
Meanwhile, we get the new look at Dr. Chenard in his full form, and even after the makeover, he's still an asshole. And so
Is
Julia,
this when the worm comes down
Yeah,
and grabs
and
his
like-
head? Yeah. I like the
Yeah.
worm. Yeah.
the worm.
I think that's a
thing.
penis.
Yeah,
Actually, I can confirm that's a penis.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes. I watched a behind the scenes kind of thing, and they said that's what they tried to make it look like was a penis.
Wait, we've had another movie like that then.
Wait, so you're saying he's a dickhead?
Yes, he's a dick. He's Dr. Dickhead. Yes.
Oh,
Dr. Dick.
So he's not an asshole. He's a dickhead.
Yes,
Oh,
there we go.
well, there we go. But
Frequels, helping you understand movies
yeah.
since 2023.
So Julia catches up with Tiffany and Kirsty, but she gets pulled into like this, almost like a black hole.
A
thing
dimension
going
of
on.
sorts.
Yeah, some kind of like wind tunnel thing.
Yeah. I thought it was weird that her skin didn't go with her. It just stayed in Tiffany's hand. Just
Yeah.
one solid
Yeah.
suit of
Yeah.
skin. Like, all right, yeah, sure.
She was unsheathed like a banana.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, I would say it was awesome.
Hey, did you know that humans eat more bananas than monkeys?
No,
Really? When was the last time you saw a human eat a monkey?
fair.
So Kirsty and Tiffany are back at the ward, and at first, everything seems like it's all right, and then and quickly they see that stuff isn't right. So Dr. Chenard arrives and starts eating the patients up.
And I like
and quipping.
Yeah, and he's like,
and I
singing
like
out
how
all
there's
this
5
stuff.
seconds of them thinking, "Oh, this movie's over. Everything's
Yeah.
gonna be cool. Everything's all right." And then no, shit hits
Yeah.
the fan again.
For you, how was that? Were you like, oh,
Oh,
finally?
thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, this movie's finally gonna end. We're gonna get a conclusion.
You're
And
like,
no,
I was
no.
mad,
Yeah.
but
And yeah,
it
and
went,
no.
it went by quick.
Hey, let me pause real quick. Oh, there's 45 friggin' minutes. Okay.
Yeah, and so Kirsty and Tiffany run away, but they come across Pinhead, and she shows him a picture of himself as a human, and Pinhead is like, you know what? I'm gonna help her out.
I was handsome.
Yeah, right. It's kind of good looking.
Yeah, all right. Not too bad, right,
funny.
guys?
That'd be funny.
It's like, hey, guys.
It's like when you showed the photo to the lead the
Yes.
female Cenobite.
He's like, hey,
Look at this.
No, I would love it if you showed them all of it. He's like, oh, it's
Yo,
look at me. Look at me, guys.
Butterball's just like, I always looked like this.
And
That's his name. I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
Is his name Butterball?
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
Butterball, Chatterbox.
Is that
Chatterer.
teeth?
Chatterer.
That's the teeth guy.
That was my favorite one because all you just hear is like,
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
like, that's so
he's
funny.
the best one.
Can we all do that real quick?
I can't do it. I don't
Yeah.
have teeth.
I don't have teeth.
I don't.
I don't have teeth.
He's actually 98 years old.
Yeah. 98 years young. I like that part when she's like telling them all that they were human. She's like, you were all human once.
Yeah.
And I wanted her so badly to look at Butterball and be like, except for
Not
you.
you. Not
you
you.
always look like that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
Turned out to
like,
be a
Pinhead
kid.
shows him that photo again.
yeah. He's like, yo, no, wait, still look at me. But yeah, Pinhead
We get it, Pinhead.
decides to help her out, and he picks a fight with Dr. Chenard. But the Cenobites lose horribly. Like, they lose
Yeah.
so hard.
Convincingly.
They put
I
up,
didn't expect that at all.
yeah, they have like zero fight in them. Pinhead a little bit, but
Yeah.
like,
No.
Yeah,
Not
I kind of felt like
even.
yeah, none either. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a really cool 1v1 battle of some freaking just bad guys, and then he just gets his throat cut immediately.
They
Oh,
are the
all right.
the balsa wood of slashers.
I think
Come
so.
on, settle on that
Yeah.
one. That was good.
Yeah.
They
I
were like the
that.
Washington Huskies, right, boys? You guys get that reference? No?
Totally.
Let's
You,
just
you
ignore
guys
that.
get that reference? You get that? No?
You blinded wasp for fun.
I was trying to protect my family on my brother's birthday, okay?
So yeah.
What, were the wasps coming inside? They had a nest.
Yes.
And you tried to ruin it. You were a home invader.
Yeah. Kirsty and Tiffany, they get away and they go back into the void, the box, and Dr. Chenard and Julia meet them there. And Dr. Chenard, I don't even know how does it happen. He just like blows his lid. He's like,
I like how he comes in through the window.
oh yeah, at the asylum.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, that part is amazing. But when they go back to the void, he just like malfunctions or something.
Oh, when he get his, like the top of his head comes off.
He's like, oh.
yeah, I don't know
he's
what
like,
that confused the crap out of me because he like made out with Julia, doesn't even
Yeah.
notice Tiffany crawling away, and then turns around and like his head just starts coming off, and I'm like, this is
Insanity.
total sense.
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what was a big bummer? Is during that showdown between Pinhead and Chenard, he didn't chain his Chenards.
Kirsty tricked him
I'm gonna
by
edit it so it
wearing
lands.
Julia's skin. So Julia kisses Dr. Chenard, right? And he blows his top off, right? And
I mean, that's one way to say it.
Right.
Hell of a kiss.
and then Kirsty is like, Julia walks over to Tiffany, and Tiffany's like, oh no, here comes Julia. And then all of a sudden, like you see Julia grab her face and pull it down, and it was Kirsty wearing her skin suit.
Of course.
I thought it
Of
was
course.
weird because Tiffany like was holding on the edge, and then Julia like gave her a hand, and then the skin came off. I noticed that there wasn't flesh there, so I was like, oh, did they fuck that up in like the effects?
Right.
And then when she took her mask off or ripped it off, I was like, oh, that makes sense that there wasn't flesh there. It was Chrissy's arm. It
Yeah.
wasn't- yeah.
Did you find it weird, Jake, when the Scooby-Doo gang came in and ripped off her mask?
No, I thought that
And
was
it was
right
the
on
amusement-
par for
Weird.
what was supposed to happen.
It was the amusement park owner the entire time.
What if the Scooby Doo gang got it wrong and they were like, they were Joints! It was a real monster. That was his real face.
yeah.
No, that was Tim. What did you do to him?
You ripped off his real face.
Fred, let him go!
Fred, he's like, gee, guys, I don't know about this.
Scooby, stop licking it. Stop. No.
Zoinks!
What was in those Scooby snacks?
Roll Raggy. So the girls, they escape the void, and they live a happy, non-police, crime-free life, and a whole asylum of dead people. No cops needed. The end. The whole asylum basically gets taken out by Dr. Chenard, but they just walk away like, we did it. We got away.
They did leave flowers on everyone's bed.
I did notice that, yeah.
That was nice of them. That was a nice touch.
I feel like
I guess so, but it's just like evidence that they were there.
Human beings die, but...
Didn't call the police at all. They're just like, let's take a stroll in the garden.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Was the direction, now you two look at each other, you smile, and then you walk away.
Right.
I feel like that's what the direction was. It's like they didn't know what to do.
So they just ended it that way?
Yeah, I feel like maybe that scene could have just not been in there.
Right.
At all.
They could have just like got
They
back.
looked back at the hospital like, well, we went through some shit, looked at each other, but we made it, and then they walked off.
And like I think if they left it where the camera's on them and they're both like trying to resonate like everything that just happened, and you kind of like pull away, and then it just feels like that traumatic experience is still heavy on the two of them, even though like they're out and they're free.
Can I give you a more appropriate ending to this?
Yeah.
So they look at the hospital, they look at each other, they smile, and then they both crack open a bottle of pills, throw a couple of them back, because that's what their future is going to be.
Wait, can I give you an
Go
ending?
ahead.
All right.
Amend away.
All right. So they're out in the yard, right? And they look at each other. They they smile, they high five, and then they grab some mace and then they go over
Jesus
to
Christ.
and just start spraying
I swear to God, this
roll.
is the last time I share anything with you guys.
So guys, after watching this movie, Vince, what did you think of this movie?
Oh my God, it was. I'm never gonna get this time back. You know, I could have hung out with my kids, could have cleaned my house, I could have washed my car or something like that. But no, you guys made me watch this bullshit.
So at the beginning of the show, I asked you a question. I said, the box open, what comes out? Your answer should have been a director's cut.
I was gonna say this movie, a sequel. For how bad it was almost like this is for the listeners. Pay attention, because this is going to be a two-parter episode. We're doing a double today, so we're doing a second movie after this. So I am ranging this against what we watched, the second movie that we're doing, and the two don't even compare. And it was just, it was grueling to watch this. It was an effort, and it was like a labor to get through this thing. Every point of the movie, I was like, is this thing over? How much more time is left? And there was always a lot of time. At one point in the movie, I was going to say,
he's 5 minutes. He's like, how much longer left on this?
At one point in the movie, I was about halfway through, and it said that there was an hour and a half left. And then 20 minutes later, there was 2 hours left. I don't know how that happened.
How funny would it be if in the movie...
That's your personal hell, by the way.
I was going to say, how funny would it be if when they're walking through that hallway with all the different rooms, she looks in the window, and there's just Vince just watching this movie
over and over.
He's just always checking his watch.
Checking his time.
She just very casually walks by.
But seriously, of the two movies, I saw this as like, this was Judas Priest, and then the next movie was Pink Floyd. So it was like kind of gimmicky. Or no, this movie was Kiss, and then the next movie was Pink Floyd, where something was authentic and done really well, but this thing was kind of like campy and just over the top and just too much. It was too much for me. I couldn't get past the muscles and the shiny, bloody, muscle-bound people. That was too much for me. I couldn't get past that.
That was my favorite part. Actually.
Was it? Yeah. Okay.
When you see Frank's like muscle suit,
different strokes for different folks.
He legit has like ooze coming off of his chin, and I was like, "That's so gross." I fucking love it. It was so good. I loved it.
Jake, there are two kinds of people. You're one of them.
You're the other.
You know what's nice to say about Frank though in that suit? He's incredibly confident.
Yeah.
When he's talking to Julia.
He rocks that. Yeah.
You know? The guy doesn't have skin, and he's just like,
I made you, bitch.
I knew you couldn't stay away from me.
Come to daddy.
He wears it well, or lack thereof. He doesn't wear it well, but he wears it well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about confidence.
It is.
That's
You
how
don't
get-
need skin.
No,
But
you don't need skin.
The cinema.
I don't have skin.
Again, the cinematography of this thing. There were certain scenes that just they looked awesome. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
they're in the dungeon, when they're in the maze, it looked really cool. As bad as that, the CG of the diamond floating in space and they're outside, that kind of looked cool, but it kind of dated it.
I feel like that was like light years for the 80s. You know what I mean?
Oh, probably.
Like seeing that in
Yeah.
the 80s probably blew people away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of that CG.
I'll say this because I already kind of said how I felt about the movie early, so I don't need to repeat myself. But I will say your music comparisons, like if you were going to say like Pink Floyd, I would say Hellraiser or Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is punk rock
Okay.
because it just kind of does what it wants. It's its own. It's
Yeah.
almost like against the grain of what was being made at that time.
And
nothing else was like that movie. And honestly, I can't think of too many things that have ever been like it since. Those
Right.
first two movies are I know it sounds weird because they are clunky and there's some awkward stuff in it, but for all of its flaws, it makes up a truly remarkable two-parter. I just think it's like a weird, gory piece of art.
So
A fantastic dream.
I'm going to assume that this opened doors for people to do things that they normally wouldn't do moving forward in this genre. Yes or no? Like they did shit in this that like you're saying like they didn't do this, it went on too long but like this opened the door for directors to be like, "Hey, they did this in this movie. We could push the envelope
probably.
even
I
further and do things creatively that normally you wouldn't get on film."
I just think like the person who made the first one, like the story and
Was the first one better than this?
Yes.
yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
On a
100%.
scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this?
I would say how am I rating it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this movie versus how do you rate the first movie?
I think
I'm just trying to find out how much better was the first movie
the
than
first
the second
one
movie.
is definitely better structured. You know?
Okay, not as confusing.
Yeah, it definitely is a better told story, but I've always really loved like the imagination that's in the second one. There's just a lot of conceptual stuff, and I can't imagine they had a lot of money, and they went so far with that budget. So like when I watch stuff like that, like I'm not trying to like nitpick the flaws of it as much as just being like, wow, like some people they have far more money to make movies and they do so much less.
Yeah.
And this one, it did some stuff like this. There's imagery in that movie that it stays with you, you know? That's what I was
Yeah.
talking about with Julia before and the bandages.
Right.
Like, you can sit there and be like, well, that's kind of stupid. But when you really look at it, you're like, it's so striking.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the
Oh,
white
yeah.
bandages and you see, like, the flesh, like, around her eyes. And
Yeah.
then those,
And her
those
mouth.
Giant,
Yeah.
those blue eyes are blown out of the screen. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's a very unconventional watch. But you know, I've always enjoyed those first two movies in a big bad way. So
12.1 million box office, so they did something right.
they did.
Yeah.
John,
I bought my wife a refrigerator for Christmas. Great gift. You should have seen her face light up when she opened it up.
Comes in with a one-liner, destroys.
Love it.
John
Love it.
Reckless walks in with that, and then he
then he
walks
walked
away.
away. That
John,
was it.
that was the equivalent of like an action star walking away from a house that blows
That
up.
blows
and they
up
don't
with the
even
fire
look
behind
back.
They don't look back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes a cigarette and just throws it behind
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, no, I would say, so Jake, what, all of your thoughts on this movie?
All
I
of them.
would, honestly, for me, out of 10, based on visuals, editing, and just the plot and acting, everything, I'd give it like a strong 6.5. I enjoyed the visuals a lot. I loved watching the movie, but following along was the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing, and then the cuts and the edits, just like, oh, we're doing this for 3 seconds, and immediately cutting to something else. I'm like, okay, we could have just stayed right there for 2 more seconds.
No,
figured
you're
that
right.
out.
It's clunky.
Yeah,
But
clunky.
it's weird because it's almost like it's operating on its own frequency, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, some of the audio was a little weird to me too. Like when Chrissy's running through like the void.
Yeah.
She's got high heels on, but it sounds like the lightest ballerina shoes. Just tap, 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 tap. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it though. I did enjoy
How funny would it be
watching
if they
it.
like actually put an audio of like a horse running?
yeah.
like the guys from Holy Grail.
Monty Python.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I would agree. I feel like this, revisiting it after so many years.
How long do you think it's been since you've seen this?
Probably like early 2000s, maybe.
Really? Okay.
I feel like that's like the last time I probably watched it.
Rory,
Jesus, what?
you?
Yeah,
Me? Last time I saw it? Probably
Prior to us having to
Prior
watch
to
it.
this.
about a year and a half ago.
God.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I forgot. Like it as a kid, it felt like it moved much better. So I definitely agree with you guys. There was like moments I'm like, oh, I don't remember like this being so choppy, right?
Yeah.
But
Clunky.
at the same, like clunky. And so watching it now, I had like more of an appreciation, but also at the same time I could look at it with a critical eye and be like, okay, it's not as perfect as I remember. And the first movie I have watched numerous times. I think the last time I watched the first one was like a year ago or something. But I love the first movie. It's literally
So same question to you. Like, how much better is the first one than this one?
It's like a perfect movie. I feel like with like the exception of like one or two things, it's a perfect movie. It's really really good. Where this one it is more like a dream scenario, fantasy.
Would you say
horror.
that maybe the biggest flaw of this film is that it was probably too ambitious for the budget that it had? Because I feel like I feel like there was like
I feel like they tried to put too much story into it.
well,
I feel
no,
like that,
it's not the story thing. I honestly feel like the movie, like the probably the original ideas for it were probably huge, and they basically probably had to like scale the movie back a lot to fit a very low budget.
So what-
I think if they had like James Cameron money, they probably could have really like elaborated on that world. You know what I mean?
I feel that what could have been a good 2-hour movie was whittled down to an hour and 45-minute movie, and some of the not necessarily the plot, but like some of it was taken out. Like if they had gone a little bit more in depth, where I knew what was going on. A lot of these movies, and I'm all over the map now. I'm sorry. A lot of these movies, when you get to sequels, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, it doesn't matter if you saw any of the shit beforehand. You can literally pick right up and get into the movie. Where this one, I feel it's very necessary that you saw the first movie first.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that. As
I
someone
feel
who
like you
watched it
should
without
always
seeing
see the first one
definitely
before you
see the first.
the preceding movies in general.
But Vince, we don't
Yeah,
do that
also
for
very
you.
true.
We don't do that here.
We
at
don't
Frequels.
offer that luxury to
Yeah.
Vince.
I'll
And
tell you.
so-
I'll tell you. Just and we'll move on after I just say this. But I know like when George Romero was doing Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead had this massive script. I think Greg Nicotero compared it to it was like the Ben-Hur of horror. It was this big giant thing.
For all you kids out there, Ben-Hur.
Yeah,
It's like a 3-hour
Ben-Hur
movie.
was something
Yeah.
me and your grandpa watched together. But basically, it was like this giant, ambitious zombie epic.
Yes.
Did not have the money for it.
So it got whittled
So
down.
it got whittled down. What it got whittled down into is phenomenal because George Romero is
yeah.
George Romero. So like Day of the Dead definitely fared better than Hellraiser 2, but I always got the sense that Hellraiser 2 was a movie that was being held back based on its budget. So with what it did, with the budget that it had, I find it commendable.
Okay.
I can say we'll definitely watch even the first one and just notice
Yeah.
like things you can nitpick it, but sometimes it's like the Ed Wood thing.
Right.
It's not about the little details, it's about the big picture. You
Yep.
know? So sometimes I'm just like, hey, I'm just glad that something like this had so much balls back then.
Yeah, it definitely pushed beyond the limits for its time. I mean, like, there are a lot of similarities to Dream Warriors, like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but at the same time, I think this was definitely the most, well, I would say it had, like, the goriest kind of fantasy horror stuff going at the time.
Yeah, that shit
This
was crazy.
like, the hardest.
Even now in 2023, this thing was made in 80 whatever.
Yeah.
88.
The 88. This
Actually,
shit is still
It technically was made in 1980, whatever.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And no, but
The
it
year of our
really,
Lord.
it pushed beyond limits, and I feel like to this day it's probably one of the goriest films I've ever seen.
I put it up there with Terrifier 2 as far as
Kinda.
gore goes.
Bring back movies like that. They don't have to be perfect, but just give me something when I'm watching it where I have a moment where I'm like, when are you going to cut? That scene where like Julia's wrestling I mean, just what is happening in that scene. Not even just what she's doing to him, but who that person is.
Right.
Like that's like a mentally ill, suffering person who's like, it's a nightmare. But like you watch stuff like that, and that's what horror should be. Horror should make you uncomfortable. It should make you want the goddamn cut, and then they don't give it to you.
Yeah.
Movies today are just like they take your hand and they walk you through, and they're like, this is a horror film, but it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It does. Yeah.
But you had a weird ass movie like Hellraiser, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. And
Did you get everything that you wanted to get out to defend this? Because I know that like you're really passionate about this, and you feel that this is.
I have to just say this. I get what you guys are saying 100%.
I liked it. I thought it was
No,
good.
I'm not-
I thought just
all
the
I'm saying-
confusion was the worst.
All that I'm saying is like I get the flaws, but sometimes like there are certain movies, I don't know why, it's certain ones. It's like the things that are working against it. Sometimes like I don't harp on it too much as I'm just like, wow, you guys made something really interesting with nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's not that I'm like blind, like rose-colored glasses or something like
Right.
that.
No, I
I
don't
just
think
feel
so.
like I'm just kind of impressed that there's something so specific and unique in
Yeah.
that genre.
Yeah.
Their own thing. It's not like a copy paste of another item.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, because I feel like there's so many slasher films in the 80s that really were copy and paste. And so the Hellraiser in general, and why it was like one of the cooler horror franchises, it was just so different than the stuff that was also happening at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even
it looks
revisiting
really cool though.
It
Yeah.
does. It looks great.
And like honestly, this sequel, like part 2, was probably the best Hellraiser sequel. I love the first movie; it's perfect. As far as like the sequels go, I think this second one was the strongest one.
Oh, it's an airplane going down after this.
Yeah,
Is it? I saw a little bit of the third.
Yeah.
So the
did.
third one, it's like not
Wait,
to
you-
say too much about it, but
You saw this and it made you want to watch more.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I did. It really was just a little bit of the editing and just a little bit of the confusion that I didn't like, but I did enjoy the movie. I did genuinely
the
enjoy
third
it.
one is far more like a traditional film. It's structured more like a regular film.
Yeah.
So, and even the fourth one to some extent.
Yeah.
It's very streamlined.
Adam Scott is in the fourth
He
one.
is.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I think it's
Okay.
like his first movie, isn't it?
I think
He's
so.
like young in it.
next on Frequels.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I think that you would probably enjoy the third one. A lot of people do. They like the third one because it's sort of like the MTV Hellraiser,
Okay.
you know?
Oh yeah.
But-
'Cause what is it? Hell on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Doug Bradley's in it, and he's just like, he just lights that whole movie up because
Yeah.
it's like they gave him time to just, say his words, and he says it with all these like this patience and command, and it's so good. His performance in that movie. But anyway,
Yeah.
want to move on to that?
Yeah, so one thing we like to do, Jake, is we'll go on our phone, we'll pick out 3 emojis or more that you pick for this movie. So I'll go first. I already have mine on deck. I picked a mattress, a blood drop, and a puzzle piece.
Okay, nice. I like that. I have an explosion, a bed, because we have to destroy the bed, and then a hand and snakes, because I love that hand snake at the end.
Yeah.
I like hand snakes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Snake up,
All I have so far is just a heart.
a heart.
Where Julia rips out freaking Frank's heart.
Yeah.
I forgot to look at them. I won't lie. I don't know if I'm able to pull out some emojis here. Pressure's on. I won't lie.
I was gonna say no. You could do what Rory does and just make shit up.
I do.
He does.
Oh, here we go. This one's a worm. We'll do that because of the maggots.
Yeah.
That was disgusting too. By
That
the
was.
way,
I thought there was going to be some correlation between the first dead body and case
In the-
with
in
the
the case
maggots,
with the
and then
maggots,
the guy
and then
had
that
the maggots
guy?
coming out. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they were gonna put some dots together,
I'm with you.
and they never did. And I was like, okay.
I like how like we've talked about this on Sunny, how like sometimes things just end.
Yeah.
And I felt that this movie at some point it was just gonna end.
Yeah.
And it did. It just ended.
You know, one of my favorite.
There was
It's
nothing satisfying.
You know,
It
one
was
of my
just
favorite "It's Always Sunny" endings is. It's when they put that like birthday party thing together for
For-
Charlie.
for Charlie
and
with
then, and it's just the
bird
what a
teeth.
life.
What a
Oh, what a life.
I'll tell you what my emojis are. I have a box.
Ooh,
I have chains.
nice.
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 I have a bee.
Oh,
not a
yeah.
wasp.
He's blind.
Blind
A
bee.
can of mace. Where are you finding these emojis?
I found a bee on here, and that's what I'm using for my emoji. And then I put a little heart and a guy shrugging.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
like
think
it.
from now on, I'm totally changing this vocabulary, this phrase. I'm instead of blind as a bat, I'm gonna go blind as a bee.
wasp. Blind as a wasp.
Blind as a wasp.
Again, I shared something personal with you guys, and all you did was take it and use it against me.
And we
so
love
I'm
you.
gonna, It's
Thank
okay.
you.
I just don't
Yeah.
know what you thought we were gonna do.
I don't know. Like, to be fair, you're correct.
Yeah.
I should have known better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should have. Don't ever tell us your feelings.
I don't know what I don't know what I was thinking.
All right, so Jake, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thanks for having
And
me.
Do you have anything you would like to plug? Any bands, shows, personal projects you're working on?
Fucking restaurants that you work
Yes, come eat at 3 Jack's Burger Bar.
All
That's
right.
it. That's
Is
all
that
I
the
have.
place that has $3?
at. Jake, what's your favorite burger?
My favorite burger would be the Rum Runner. Barbecue sauce, top and bottom. Bacon on the bottom. Onion rings up top.
Wow,
Lil-
it's almost
Lil
as if
Cooper?
you yourself make them. Is that true?
That is the word on the street.
Oh, jeez.
I do that here and there.
He is one of the chefs at 3 Jack's Burger Bar. He's fantastic. He always goes off menu and creates some really cool shit. He's also going to be a dad.
I
Wrap
am.
your head around that.
I am.
He's got a little baby
dude.
on the way.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
A little girl,
Yeah.
and we're going to pick the name right now on the show. Okay. The name of the baby
Is
Julia.
is Julia.
yeah, Julia. We're going
Julia.
with Julia.
Yes,
You know you can name her Wasp.
No, she's going to be a wasp.
The Wasp.
But yeah, Rory, anything you would like to
Did
plug?
you give your emojis?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
He was the
shit,
first to
I'm
go.
having a
I was the
weird
first
night.
to go.
Hard at it. What were you going to say?
I'll do my
anything-
plugs first.
Oh, yeah, go
and
ahead.
then he can build up to his plugs. So I'm gonna plug Matt Rinaldi just because I like him. He's a cool guy.
hell yeah.
And then I'm gonna do Raven View Productions because they have a new movie coming out. It's called Skin Vampires.
Oh, yeah.
So
Hey,
check
did
that
we
out.
also pitch Space Chimp?
Yeah. Space
Yeah. Talk about Space
We've
Chimp.
pitched a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Blind Wasp.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, check out Raven View's YouTube and their Facebook so you could like their Facebook page and get new info on any new projects and former projects that have come out and stuff. But yeah, and then Rory, how about you? Anything you would like to plug?
Well, I just, of course, do the Raven View Productions. We've got Adam Farley's music. You can check it out on iTunes and Spotify. We got Fourth Cut movie reviews on the YouTubes. Movie Mania. If you guys listened to our last episode with Joe Petito lighting up the show.
Joe was good. I
check
was
enjoyed
funny.
Joe.
Joe
Yeah.
is like, I was texting him all week. I'm like, dude, you are coming the back. You are so good.
He was lightning in a bottle. Yeah.
Joe, Jon Snow's band's on the Facebook. We got the Issues, the Korn cover band, Realign, the Godsmack cover band. We have Variant Season, my buddy Will Perna's band.
Will Perna, Mark Ganish.
I'm just saying this, so look them up. Their music is it's real punchy, you know.
And then, really quick, guys, if you could rate and review us on Applecast, it actually
Rate and
helps.
review what? What are you talking about?
Our podcast, Frequels,
Oh,
guys.
who'd have thought?
Come on there, go on Applecast
All you frequents.
or Spotify, rate and review us. Be like, yo, check this out. those little things actually help us and help us pop up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so
we could make money that we'll never give Vince.
that,
All of his money is actually going to his victims, the wasps.
The wasps.
The
Yes.
Wasp Foundation.
Yeah, my family is starving. And Dan out in
Eye
Arizona.
surgeries.
Shout out to Dan in Arizona. That fucker.
oh yeah, shout out to Dan
With
in
his
Arizona
dry-ass
just
heat,
checking
yeah.
out our show. I was like, dude, I had no idea. And so also make sure to email us with requests or any questions at frequelpodcast@gmail.com. And then also check out our Instagram, Frequels Podcast, and Facebook, and make sure to like us on there. And we always share pictures and latest episodes and different news things on there too.
Yeah, check it out because you're going to see a picture of Jake with no pants on. So you're
Yeah.
gonna,
Yes.
you're
You
gonna
have,
be one
you have that NDA?
the NDA.
I didn't sign it in the beginning. I should sign it now.
He's going to sign it now.
He's
Oh, and last thing before we sign off, I just wanted to say to all of our fans, fuck you.
Fuck you. No, but Jake, thank you so much. Please come back.
Yes, I will
And,
totally come back.
Hopefully it's not another Hellraiser. It'll be like something else.
No. We should just
something
stick with
good?
Hellraiser. With
Yeah,
him.
he'll just.
Yeah, what do we have 10 to do?
We're going
Right?
down the line of Hellraiser
We'll be watching them
sequels
for
with
6
Jake.
years.
And we'll never watch the first one.
yeah, just
Yeah.
I'm going straight to the third. I'm skipping the first.
Right.
What's funny is that we're saying, Jake, come back. You're having a kid. We'll never see you again.
No, but please come back.
Yes.
And it was so fun to meet you and hang out with you. And
Vice versa.
thank you for listening to Freak